Hi everyone. I This is the most excruciating part about doing a live is like the first setup, the initial setup of it. And I'm trying to Hello everyone. Hello. Hello everyone. I'm just trying to write a nice little caption in here. Elizabeth Gilbert. Hi everyone. Can I post that? And let me see if I can pin it. Pin comment. Hi everyone. Okay, now I need to invite my business partner. How do I do that? Let me invite. Okay. All right. I think, okay, we're doing good so far. Hey, Kat.
Hello.
All right. Live with Elizabeth Gilbert. Okay, everyone's in here. All right. We doing good. We doing good so far. And then at 6 p.m., we're going to officially invite Elizabeth Gilbert. Oh, there's Elizabeth Gilbert, writer. Hey, Elizabeth. Ah! Okay, we're going to send you a request. The directions were to send a request at 6 p.m. But you know what? We don't follow rules anyway. So come on, I'm gonna send it right now. Okay. Elizabeth. Okay, we invited.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Now we just do these movements and these extremely awkward but sounding aliens do when they get excited. Hi, you look
Thank
so
you.
beautiful.
How are
Hi,
you?
hello. I've never done an IG live with 3 people before. This is extremely exciting. I didn't even know this could be done.
I put on my Sunday's best for you girls. So listen, I was
You look absolutely beautiful. You look absolutely beautiful. And I'm wearing what I wear
oh
every
yeah,
day, which is my
yeah. No,
jumpsuit
that looks way
uniform.
more comfortable than what I have on.
You look stunning. It's
Thank you. It's so
beautiful.
nice to see you again. All right. So as always, I stalked your page and saw how you did your IG live. So I'm gonna wait just a couple of minutes to allow people to trickle in. People are already sending requests to join the live, and I saw you tell somebody else. If you are not on the docket, do not send a request to join the live. I saw that's what you said.
But we love your love. We love
Oh
your
my God,
love.
I'm so excited to be here with you all today. Whoo, jeez. Okay, it's 6 p.m. All right. It's so good to see you again, Elizabeth.
Hello, my love. It's wonderful to see you. Thank you for inviting me
Oh, you're
into your
very
cosmic living
welcome.
room.
You're very welcome. If anyone is joining here and they do not know who I am, my name is Ayana, and I am a co-founder of Paradise and Vibe.
And I'm Cassandra. I am also a co-founder of Paradise and Vibe.
And then if you do not know who this beautiful lady in these fly glasses and this beautiful yellow, we're going to let her introduce herself.
I am Elizabeth Gilbert. I am the author of Eat, Pray, Love and Big Magic and Signature of All Things and City of Girls and a whole bunch of other things. And I also love to teach workshops. And I got invited by these beautiful women to come and teach a workshop this autumn in Tulum, Mexico. And I said, yes. Let me think. Yes. I think that was an exaggeration of how much time it took me to decide to agree to that. And that's what I'm doing here. We're just here to talk about what we're going to do in October in
So
Mexico.
excited. And just really quick, Paradise and Vibe, we are a global wellness experience. We do a lot of things, but amongst the most notable thing, and probably the thing that you know us for, is our retreats worldwide. But we also do a lot of wellness workshops, local pop-up events, and yoga, meditation, and really so much more. Um, let's get right into it. Now, I thought about, okay, what could we ask Elizabeth that's a little bit different and a little bit spicy? So, you ready?
We're going, oh,
Sounds like
we're
Ayana.
spicy. Okay, great. Hang on. Let me
How,
have a stiff drink of
can I
tap
give a
water
shout out to
to
Inner
begin.
Guide? Hi, Inner Guide. Thanks for joining. They're
Oh,
sponsoring our Tulum retreat.
yes, yes,
Oh,
Amazing,
yes,
hi,
amazing
Inner
journals. I
Guides.
live by them. They're so good.
yes. Shout out to Inner Guide. Okay, so tell me about what makes autonomy so tricky for women.
Hmm. Well, for most of history, I think it hasn't been possible. So that's part of it, is that we don't have um, generations upon generations upon generations of autonomous female role models because it simply didn't exist. I mean, the closest that most women, at least in Western society, and I don't want to speak for the rest of the world, but as far as I know, the only way that you could really get it was if you were either a monastic. So if you went into celibate religious retreat, now then you would also belong to the convent, but at least you had autonomy in a way over your body and your time. Or if you were a widow. If you were a widow, you could own property and you could have money. But apart from that, there weren't that many options. And so I think and I also think that the culture is arranged to make sure that women don't have autonomy, because that's considered extremely threatening to the status quo. And then we're also very insidiously taught that if we are not coupled, we are not whole. If we don't have children, we are not whole. And coupling and having children are wonderful things for some people, but in my life, relationships have not necessarily led to more autonomy, right? They've led to many interesting things, but I wouldn't say that I've ever been in a relationship that has made me more free. Just by, even just to be, just to be to show up as a good partner in a relationship, there's a good deal of freedom that has to be given up just, because you have to take account of the other person. So there's not a lot of incentivizing in our culture and in our families to encourage it for women. And it's taken me to the age that I am now, which is 54, to finally be like, oh, but this is what I want. But this is what I want. And it goes against everything that I was taught and everything that I was modeled. And this is where I'm finding spaciousness and freedom and peace and dignity and serenity. So yeah, it's a rather long essay that I just gave as an answer.
Wow. That
but there
that
it
was a
is.
word. It really resonates with me because I have really spent, I want to say, thanks to your movie Eat, Pray, Love, I watched it at about 24 years old, and it had such an impact on the way that I decided to navigate my life, how I wanted to pursue my dreams and my goals, and also how I approach relationships. So I really try to make sure that if it's not serving me, I'm not interested at all. I know Ayana knows that about me. I'm like, I'm out. I don't, and I'm not even venturing into it because I don't really feel as if being partnered defines me. I don't think that it brings any extra value to me. So that just, oh, so good. So that leads me into a question for you. Can you talk to us more about divine femininity and the misunderstandings around divine femininity.
Oh, we're doing it. Let's go. Let's talk about the divine feminine. Okay. So first of all, I want to say that when I use the words feminine and masculine, I'm not talking about gender, and I'm not talking about gender assignment. I'm talking about iconic notions and energetic notions that are usually associated with what we traditionally call femininity and masculinity, and a very oversimplified, but I think useful way to discuss it is that there is such a thing as the divine masculine, and there is such a thing as the degraded masculine, and there is such a thing as the divine feminine, and there is such a thing as the degraded feminine. The degraded masculine is Donald Trump, right? I mean, that's the epitome of it. It's just like, I'm going to take whatever I want because I can. I'm going to do whatever I want because I can. I don't have to ever think about anyone. I can grab, take, hoard, conquer. It's this ultimate entitlement, right? Power is everything. My power is everything, and that's masculinity at its worst. The divine masculine is Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Mandela. It's a theology that says Christ, right? It's a theology that says, wait, I need to put other people's needs ahead of my own. I could have power, but I refuse it. And instead I serve, right? And for most of us, we grew up where our religious traditions were inspired by the divine masculine, which are the teachings of great saints and sages, most of them male, right? Who had some kind of enlightenment and said, I'm no longer going to take everything I can just because I can. I'm going to turn the other cheek. I'm going to give my coat to my brother. And so we were all taught this. So put that on hold for a second. Now let's move over to the feminine corner. The degraded feminine overgives and overserves and is overused and overabused. That's the degraded feminine, which is like, you can take everything I have because I'm nothing. I'm only here to give and to serve in the interest of supporting others. I will accept any amount of abuse and just keep forgiving you and loving you. I will take any injustice and I will turn. So it's turning the other cheek so far that you've just become nothing, right? And so the divine feminine, which is something that we're never really taught about, is its own theology, which is when a woman, well, let me put it this way, in order for the masculine energy to move from degraded to divine, men have to give up the self, right? In order for the feminine energy to move from the degraded to the divine, women have to get a self. They have to get a self, and they have to say, no, that's enough. I've given enough, right? You're not allowed, no. And the divine feminine is the protector of everything that's vulnerable and fragile, because the degraded masculine will take it all. But the divine feminine is like, no, you're not allowed to destroy the environment anymore. You're not allowed to abuse children. You're not allowed to keep this group of people oppressed anymore. You're not allowed, this is not permitted anymore. It's an offense to the divine. So I'm now going to stand up and I'm going to refuse this. And most of us don't have a model of what divine femininity is, because we've been taught divine masculinity. So if you teach divine masculinity to people who already have a feminine soul, which is like, give up the self, serve, don't have any needs, don't have it, you just become you dissolve, and we've all seen this, and this is the martyrdom that most of us grew up watching in our families with women. So I'm all about encouraging people to step into their divine feminine. And when the divine feminine and the divine masculine meet, it's this battery of charge that makes everything work. Just very, very beautifully.
I got chills. I got chills.
That is so good, Elizabeth. I've heard you say before that you find consequences fascinating. And I've sat with that for about a week and a half, and I want to know like, what do you mean consequences are fascinating?
Well, I haven't ever learned anything any other way. I mean, you may be a much more evolved person than I have, and maybe you learned everything from books or from observation or from deep meditation. But yeah, the most profound transformative lessons of my life have come through consequences of my actions. And I'm the sort of person who can only recognize where a border or a boundary is by running 100 meters past it into an ocean of lava, right? And then I'm like, what? Why am I on fire? So to me, consequences are fascinating because they hurt so much when they're happening. And I actually believe, because I love this line that Einstein said, that the single most important question that any human can ask is whether you believe that you're living in a friendly or an unfriendly universe. And he believed it was a friendly universe, which is interesting. I think it's a more interesting game to believe that it's a friendly universe, because then my consequences become something more than just pain. They become, sometimes I think even my most painful consequences are the cosmos just as gently as possible trying to course correct me. Like, we're taking it as easy as you trust us. We're doing this as gently as we can because we sent a whole bunch of messages up until this point that you just kept not getting and not getting and not getting, and you've developed an incredibly high tolerance for pain. So we're just going to have to ramp up the pain and the consequences until even you get it, right? Until even you are like, maybe this isn't working anymore. I don't know. Like, and then the surrender comes. So, after a big enough consequence comes a beautiful, magnificent surrender, if you're lucky. And if you're not ready to surrender, you'll just keep getting more consequences.
You said, I just love that you said that, because it feels like the universe like whispers first, and then it speaks a little bit louder, and then it gets louder and louder to the point where it's just like you're being yelled at, and you're like, oh no, what? It's like, try to warn you.
Clutch my pearls, what did I do?
Try to ease you on in there, but
this can't have anything to do with me.
But you mentioned boundaries, and I actually want to ask a question. What would you say to people that consider boundaries selfish?
I would quote Brene Brown's research and say that the angriest people, statistically speaking, are the least boundaried. And I know that from my own life, and I also know that from my own observations. And I know that people without boundaries become really angry and really resentful. And I know that angry and resentful people are very dangerous, and insidious and punishing and blaming. And so if I want to not live my life in anger, which I think is a public service, right? I think it's a public service to have one less person walking around enraged all the time, then it's really important for me to have clear, fair boundaries. I heard somebody say just today that the questions that she asks are, what is best for me? What is best for you? What is best for everyone involved? And that it has to be in that order. And that's how it's got to be. And I had it reversed. I had it reversed. It was always like, well, what is best for everybody? Okay, well then that's what will be best for me. And then I had the consequences of that. What does that lead to? Well, that leads to an enormous amount of money that I dumped in my life into psychiatric treatment. That led to me being medicated on antidepressants and anti-anxiety drugs. That led to a whole bunch of broken relationships and unstated resentments, and it didn't seem to actually end up being beneficial to anybody. Now listen, nobody hates setting a boundary more than me. I've gotten better at it, but I still get terrified every time I have to do it. And I know that I have to do it when my body starts breaking down, or when my mind becomes obsessed with just strategizing how to get out of a situation with somebody where that person is renting space in my head and taking up all of my emotional energy. And it's like, I never want it to mean that means you have to set a boundary now, but it does always mean that I have to set a boundary now. And I don't like it, but then when I do, I get my autonomy back, and I get my freedom back, and I get my serenity back, and I'm not an angry, punishing person anymore.
That just, yeah.
Girl, I know. I'm like,
I'm like, oh my God,
like,
I cannot wait for Tulum. I'm like, this is just so much.
I can't wait either. Oh my God. We're going to be doing this all day. This is all I ever want to do is
you're so
about stuff like that.
You're so good. Like, so one of the things that we're going to be workshopping about in Tulum is how being a relaxed woman is radical. And so I want to talk to you. I've never in my life heard that, especially like, what does that mean? What does a relaxed woman look like? What, like, to help me, what we talking about?
I mean, don't you think it's telling that you don't know? Like, I mean, don't you think it's telling that it seems like you can't probably think of very many that you've ever met? I mean, I don't have a long list. I have a long list of women I know who are really strong and really powerful and resilient, brave, tough, and badass. But if you ask me to make a list of relaxed women, I don't know many. And I think that's a pity, because I think that the most relaxed person in the room is the one who has all the power. So that's what every martial artist knows, and yogis know, and because you can't really see all the angles unless you're relaxed, and you can't see where the doorways are. You can't see the games that people are running. You can't see what's not working. Like when you're relaxed, you can see the whole field. You can see the whole field. It's really important. Yeah. So I think it would be radical to create an army of relaxed women. I think that's the next revolution that I would be looking for. It's going to take a lot of boundarying, though, because I mean that's essential. It's going to take a lot of saying no, and it's going to take a lot of learning the thing that has been the hardest for me to learn, which is how to bear other people's disappointment. I can't be a relaxed woman if I emotionally cannot handle watching somebody be disappointed. That is a huge thing that I've had to learn, is that, listen, Lizzie, people can survive being disappointed. I've been disappointed left, right, and center, man. I've been disappointed so many goddamn times. I'm still here, right? It's like, not only that, my disappointments have been some of the greatest lessons in my entire life, but if I think it's my job, if I think that kindness and compassion mean that it's my job to make sure that nobody is ever has to experience the sting and the pain of disappointment, then I'm never going to be able to withdraw myself from constantly being in service to others, to the point where there's nothing left of me. So I have disappointed some people in the last 5 years. In the last few years, yeah, I've disappointed some people. I've been like, I can't continue to protect you from your disappointment by destroying myself.
Ooh. Can I tattoo that on me?
Listen, in Mexico, we'll do some stick and poke. We'll do some stick and poke.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was sorry, Cass. Elizabeth, did you have an interaction with a woman that was relaxed, or did you just get fed up to the point where you're like, all right, there's something's gotta shift or gotta break? Like, how did you first incept the idea of radicalism and then relaxation in women?
Well, first I experienced like 45 uninterrupted years of incredible anxiety. Um, I mean, anxiety and I were born twins. I don't ever remember not being anxious. Most women don't ever remember not being anxious, and it's not like there's no reason to not be. You know what I mean? Like, let's not even get into all the reasons that women have to walk around feeling pretty anxious, to exist in the world. But anxiety never made me a single bit safer. Um, it never brought me any more power. It never changed a situation. Um, it never brought me anything I wanted. And it was an addiction also. I think I was addicted to being anxious because of a misunderstanding that somehow it was what was keeping me safe. Um, and and it wasn't. I'm not sure the really great spiritual leaders that I've studied in my life, I'm not sure any of them ever said the world was supposed to be safe. Um, so I loved something that Ram Dass said, where he said there's this next level of spirituality where your security stops being the most important thing in your life, right? So for most of us, and there's an evolutionary reason for this too, it's like we are wired for our security to be the single most important thing in our lives. But what it means is that you'll have a life of never-ending vigilance. But then there's this level of surrender into the inherent lack of safety of being in a human form on earth, where you're like, okay, well, this isn't just safe. It's not safe. It's never going to be safe. It's never been safe for anybody. What if there's something that's more important to me than that? And what if it's actually being able to be present for this extremely interesting experience? This extremely interesting experience of life in human form, of being a soul embodied in human form, which I'm missing because I'm so vigilant. I'm missing the entire experience. So there's a ton of practices that can be around relaxing. Um, and I've met a couple people who were relaxed. It's interesting. It's a varied group. I find it also interesting that all human emotions are contagious and viral. So you know this, that you get more anxious when you're around more anxious people, and you get more angry when you're around more angry people, and you get more relaxed when you're around more relaxed people. And there are people who are really master co-regulators. Like I watched the great Vietnamese monk Thich Nhat Hanh do this with an entire audience of New Yorkers 20 years ago. I went to an event of his, and he, it was like this New York City crowd. So it was like everybody's fucking jacked, like, and anxious and and he just came out on stage and he just sat in stillness. And then I watched his stillness infect the front row, and then the second row, and then the third row, and then the fourth row. And I just watched like one man who had spent his entire life practicing stillness and repose was able to bring, without saying a word, an audience of 800 New Yorkers into themselves. And if that isn't power, I don't want anything that isn't that. Like, any power that isn't that to me doesn't actually seem like real power. So yeah, I want women to be able to do that and have that and do that for themselves. I've lost enough time in vigilance. It's just stolen most of my life from me. And if my plan is that I'm going to relax once the world has been reordered so that it is safe for me and everyone who I care about, and I care about everyone because I'm an empath, then I will never know a moment's peace.
Okay. I gotta take that in for a second. Wow. Because you can't fix everything. So yeah,
I'm just
I,
go
like
ahead. Go Cass, go ahead. Go ahead,
you,
Cass.
I was gonna ask her a question, but I don't know if you had a comment before I asked the question.
I just it kind of goes into what I've recently read about how we are constantly sharing our central nervous system with each other, especially if you're within 6 feet of another human next to you. So I think it's really incredible and a little bit provocative to consider the best thing you can do for anybody else is to be calm and relaxed yourself. Wow. I
Mm.
go
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, Cass. Go ahead,
I mean,
Cass.
I can't do anything for you if I'm not calm and relaxed. I can't, if you're freaked out and I come into your space and I become empathetically freaked out because you're freaked out, now we have two patients and no doctor, right?
When you said empathetically freaked out.
Yeah. I used to think
Oh.
that's what compassion was. I used to think that compassion was you're losing your shit, so now I'm going to lose my shit to show you that I
Mm.
feel your pain. But now we have two people in pain and nobody who can help, So I think there's a certain courage that's needed to be able to sit in somebody else's pain without joining them in it.
Mm.
And that's very new to most of us because that feels like cruelty. But the example I've heard it discussed as if you're a surgeon on a battlefield and people are dying and you take on the pain of every single person who you see is dying, you can't help.
Mm. And I mean, it goes back into what we were saying about boundaries. Like, if you don't have boundaries around your own energy and you allow everybody else's energy to influence yours, how can you be of service to anybody? You've got to have boundaries to be able to be of service to people. Whew, whew. This is just
That's
okay.
right.
So I'm going to go into the next question. Martha Beck, one of your favorite writers, right, says there's 4 types of women. Tell tell us more about those 4 types of women.
Yeah, she said that there are women who chose career over family and who feel conflicted about it. There are women who chose family over career and who feel conflicted about it. There are women who chose career and family and who feel really conflicted about it. And then there are the mystics. And she defines the mystics as a woman who can be from any of those categories or more, who is listening to some deeply rooted, silent interior voice that only she can hear, and is navigating her entire life based only upon that voice, no matter where it leads her. And that those are the only women who have a chance to actually be at ease with the path of their life. Um, they have their own, I mean, she always uses the term North Star, but they have their own North Star that they're following. And it might look like other people's lives, or it might not look like other people's lives, or some part of it might look like other people's lives, or some part may not. But, in the end, I think about some of the biggest decisions I've made in my life. And I remember one where I was um, under the care of a doctor who had a very strong opinion about something that was happening with my hormones, and who was very, very esteemed and really a good guy and was really trying to help me and had a plan, and I'd started it and it didn't feel right. There was something about it that just didn't feel right. And I ended up saying, I'm not going to go with this program that you've got for me. I don't really know what I'm going to do, but this doesn't feel like it's it. And I know that you have, and he started to push back, and he was like, you're going to go into the throes, into the hurricane of menopause. You are going to, he was like warning me. And I think from a place of real concern. And I said, I hear you. And I believe that you have all of science on your side, and you've got all of your training on your side. And I think you also have goodwill on your side. And I don't have anything with which to defend this decision except my own intuition. But I have guided my entire life based on that. And anytime I haven't, I've really suffered suffered. And anytime I have, it's gone very well for me. So I'm just going to do this thing that my intuition is telling me to do. And I really appreciate all your expertise. But it's not in alignment with my intuition. So I gotta go do this now. And I'm fine. Like I went my own way and I'm fine. So that's the North Star, like that's the deep inner knowing that that caused me to take a different path. And there's other times where I've done exactly what experts have told me to say because it felt right, So I'm not trying to say I'm some sort of renegade. I'm just saying that check in, like check in and be like, does this feel, you've got this body that's the product of 200 million years of evolution. It is the product of just constant refinement and refinement and refinement. It's really well made. And you've got this mind, the latest download of the human mind is only 200,000 years old. It's like the newest iPhone. It's got a lot of glitches, right? Like we don't really know how to operate this thing yet. It's an amazing tool, but it's very new. But this thing is ancient. This thing is ancient and it knows, the body knows, so don't disregard it. Just be like, does this feel right? Does this feel right physically? If it doesn't feel right physically, it's not right. And I think that's what the inner voice is. It's like a somatic experience.
We talk about that at Paradise and Vibe. We've talked about that before in our workshops, that our emotions are a part of our toolkits, there to guide us. So really working on being present to figure out how you really feel so that it can guide you to where ultimately you need to be. I feel like that kind of goes against so many systems and so many things because so many people need you to trust in them and believe in them and not you as a guide. So I just, I feel like this is so in alignment with what Paradise and Vibe believes and what we teach in our workshops and what we stand for. I just, I don't know if you want to, sorry.
Well, I mean, I think so too, and that's why I want to work with you guys. Like that's why I wanted to come and do this workshop, and also just to say, like, I'm not an idiot, like I don't pretend to have knowledge that I don't have. One thing my intuition always says to me is listen to everyone, but follow only me.
Ooh, girl, that was a bar. Girl, that was
I
a
listen.
bar.
Another tattoo.
I listen. Like I'll listen. I don't think I have more expertise than an expert. Like if somebody went to 12 years of medical school and this is what they're in, like I'm gonna listen, but if my physical body's like, nope, then, and it's not even that I have a better idea. A lot of times I think my intuition just says, not this. I don't know what it is yet, but it's not this. That's a huge thing. So many of us rush into things because we don't have a different plan. So it's like we marry somebody because we're like, well, I don't have anybody, like your body's like, not this, but you're like, well, there's no one else around. It's like, not this is like a great, that's enough to know. Like if that's all you take away is like, if your body says not this, then not this, just wait it out. Wait it out, not this. Be cool. Calm down, back off. More will be revealed.
I think that people, and I know that we're going to wrap this up, but I think that people often conflate the brain with the mind. And I think the mind is a large part of the body. The body has this continuous language that's always talking to you. And just shout out to Cassandra because a long time ago, she put me on a writer named Louise Hay, which is famous for talking about how you can literally look at your physical body to find out what's going on in your energetic systems and in your mind. So that's incredible. And then I also want to say, I don't know how to ask this in a politically correct way, so I'm just going to ask it. Why do you love Black women so much?
like why do you show us so much love? Yes. I'm sorry. You made her turn red, Ayana. Look at yourself.
Are you
For you, I
serious?
get
Like, look
real.
at
You know,
you.
I'll overthink the
Oh
question, so I
my
just I go, okay,
gosh.
keep. But I do want to know. I want to know. I want to know. Why do you?
Well, I'll share this that I think white women have been missing a lot, to put it mildly. I think white women have been missing a lot. I've learned a lot in the last few years. I think, I hope that a lot of us white women have been listening and learning and growing. Um, you know, I, what I really love doing and what I've really come to love doing over the last few years is this book club, that I have, on Instagram, which is the Onward Book Club that celebrates the voices of Black female writers. And I do it for a couple of reasons. And one is because, there's a tremendous amount of racism and injustice everywhere, but there's also a tremendous amount of racism and injustice within the publishing world. And once I saw behind the scenes of that, um, I was like, oh, wow, I'm really benefiting from this system that a lot of really great Black female writers are suffering under. And I'll just break it down just in terms of the metrics of it. But what happens when you sell a book to a publisher is that the publisher gives you a book advance, and the book advance that they give you is kind of a gamble that they're putting on you. They're gambling on you to win, and they're gambling on how much they think that how many of your books they think they can sell, right? So they're guessing based on who you are and how many followers you have on Instagram and how many books you read. They take a guess, and they're like, I think we can give you this percentage of the advance, and then once your book is published, we're pretty sure we can earn that back. They give Black women a lot less, a lot lower book advances than they give white women, uh, who are writing the same kind of books, because there's an idea that's been in the publishing world forever, which is that Black women's books don't sell, right? So this is an idea, like, so we can't, so the publishing world is like, well, we can't give you this advance because we're not going to be able to make it back because Black women's books don't sell. Here's the insidious, awful circle of it. How much publicity your book gets is directly, it's like a metric, it's proportional to how much money they give you as an advance. So if they give you a $20,000 advance, they've got that in an actual calculation of how much money they have to invest in you, in your book. And if they gave you a $200,000 advance, they're going to give you that much more publicity. If they give you a $5,000 advance, they're going to give you that little publicity, right? So if the story is Black women's books don't sell, then they give you this small advance, then they only have a tiny amount of money to invest in publicizing Black women's books, so it doesn't sell. And so they're like, see, and it just keeps circling on and on and on like that. So what happens is that a bunch of really extraordinary Black female authors don't get read, you know, and they don't get read not because their books aren't great. They don't get read because of institutionalized racism in the publishing world, just as institutionalized racism everywhere. I can't change the whole entire world, but I have some clout in the publishing world, and I have some clout among readers. Like, this is a place where I have some spotlight, right? So I was like, well, listen, I have 1 million followers on Instagram who like love my books. Why don't I start a book club and I find some of these books that aren't getting the attention that they deserve, which is all of them, and I just say like, hey, let's buy these. You know, like the biggest reason to do it is like, first of all, you're not even hearing about these great books because they're not being publicized. So this, like, Heather Graham's written an incredible book called The Sum of Us about how racism hurts everyone. This is a very mild version of it, but it's like this racism in the publishing world is hurting you, white reader, because you're not discovering these incredible authors who you would be enjoying if you knew about them, but they're not you know, you get it? So like, this is, so when you say, why do I love Black women? You know, I love what I love, and I love these books, and I want them to be read, and it makes me sad that their books aren't selling when they are so worthy and beautiful. It makes me sad for my readers that they're only reading books by white women when they're losing this whole universe that they could be exposed to. It's so I just love that I figured out one little tiny thing that I could do. And I think the important thing is, like, in your own fields, white women out there watching this, like, what is your equivalent of this? Find it, because, yeah, what, can you find it? Can you find where you can where can you do your little part? Anyway, so that's my answer. But, I just love you because I love you. And I want to say about Paradise and Vibe, the wellness industry has been called out for being very problematic in so many ways. And so when I discovered that you exist and that you are a Black woman-owned wellness industry and that you are a Black woman-owned luxury travel company, like, these are not words that have been typically associated with Black women, And I was like, my speaking agent was like, they want you to come and speak. And I was like, they want me to come? They want me. Like, that's how I felt. I was so honored. I was like, nothing would make me happier. So, here we are, and now we get to go spend all this time together and love each other. So
can we take the next 120 seconds? I've got two questions to ask you from our audience. They submitted a lot of questions to you, but you've been so gracious with your time. And when you are done, just in the line, just like, I'm tired, girl. I'm out. Listen, we still have 30 minutes now. I'm pushing it. I know I'm pushing it. Okay. What do you do to get into the energy of receiving?
Oh, that's such a good question.
I know, right? It's kind of a tough one too.
It's, it's funny. It's very hard to receive if you don't believe you have worth, isn't it? Like, that's what comes to mind. It's just the radical notion that you are worthy of experiencing abundance, softness, pleasure, attention, and help. I wasn't raised by women who believed that women were worthy of receiving abundance, pleasure, softness, attention, and help, because they'd never seen a woman receive abundance, pleasure, softness, tenderness, and help. The job of them was to give that to men, in return for some sort of status or power or safety that men would provide for them, which I don't even know. Doesn't look like that really worked. So to believe that you have the right to feel well, to feel good, is itself something very radical and very new for women. As you're saying it, I'm like, wow, it's still not easy for me. I've got COVID right now, and I'm fine. Obviously, I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. But I've got all these wonderful friends who keep reaching out to me and saying, what can we do for you? And it's so my reflex to be like, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm fine. And I am good and fine. And I love being good and fine because I'm strong and I'm independent and I'm autonomous and I'm healthy and I can handle it. And I love being able to handle stuff, I get off on that. But it took something from me yesterday to send a text out to a friend and say, I could use some bath salts. I could use some eucalyptus bath salts so much right now because I just want to take a bath with some bath salts in it, and I don't want to go to the store. Could you bring me that and leave it on the doorstep? To believe that I was worthy to ask someone of that, it still takes me something to ask for that.
Well,
and they were like, no, we'll get you on fucking bath. No, just kidding.
This is my last question. Is there anything that you wish people would ask you more about?
Why do you look so young, Liz? Where does your radiance? How is it that you're 54, but you just look like you've got the skin of like a 16-year-old? Like, how do you what are your beauty secrets? No one fucking ever ask me that?
Well, Liz, what are your beauty secrets? How does your skin look so amazing?
Is,
Like,
is it
how do I be
Maybelline?
creative? How do I find jobs?
This has
Oh
been
my
so
God.
fun. Oh my gosh.
Why are you so gorgeous? Why don't they ask me that?
It's gonna be the first thing I say to her in Mexico. I'm gonna be like, Liz, share
What
the
more?
skin routine, sis.
Is it Tatcha? Is it what is
What
it?
is it?
I don't know. I mean, then I would just answer the truth. I don't know. I don't know why I'm so beautiful. I don't know. It seems unfair. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why I'm this brilliant and also beautiful. I wish I knew. Maybe that's why people don't ask, because they know that I don't know. It's
I'm
too
so
much to
done.
take.
Oh gosh.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you
a
so
million
much.
times. Thank you. My grandmother is in here and she is losing her shit. I know she is. So just thank you so much. Just from the depths of my soul,
Wait,
thank
wait.
you.
Ayana, your grandmother
Yeah.
is on Instagram Live?
She downloaded the app. She
Stop
texted
it. That's so
the family
cute.
group chat. She downloaded the
My
app.
gosh. If I had known, I wouldn't have used any
She
swear
taught
words.
me how to cuss.
Okay.
Okay, you
Okay,
tell me you want.
good. Oh, see there, somebody just told me my skin is amazing. I'm assuming they were talking to me. They could have been talking to you guys.
They are talking to
But I'm
you,
assuming
girl.
they're
Talking
talking
to you.
that
That is
was
Yes,
for
you.
me.
that's all you.
I think that was for me. I'm feeling I can't wait to see you in Tulum. I can't wait to see the women who come. I love everything that you're doing. I love how you're disrupting the wellness industry and the travel industry. I love your spirits. I love your souls. I can't wait to hug you. I can't wait to just go even more into this. And it's just congratulations on everything that you've created, and just just keep doing everything you're doing. It's
Thank you,
perfect,
Liz.
and I
We
love
love
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been so good. I haven't laughed and smiled this hard, I think, in a while. So this has been so fun. This has been great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And bye,
So
Elizabeth.
good.
If you're
Bye. Oh,
my last
you
sign
want to
up.
say anything
If
else?
you are in this chat, there are still a couple of spots left for Tulum. You can click the link in my bio or the link in Paradise and Vibe bio, and we're gonna send you a special offer. Thank you all so much. Have a great evening and
Yeah.
blessings.
And I
Yes, we
assume you
are
have
in
other things
Brazil.
coming up too,
Yeah,
right?
we're in
Okay,
So
don't.
you
Brazil.
have, I mean, if you guys can't make it to Mexico, I'm sure
Yeah.
that you're doing
We've
other
got pop-up
events. So
events. We've got pop-up
tell us
events in
about those.
Atlanta coming up. We've got a tea party that we're doing. We've got an amazing doctor who actually has a tea line. She's going to be leading the conversation around the benefits of tea. And then we also have our Brazil retreat coming up. Next year, we also have Fiji and Iceland. So we're super excited about those destinations. And we've got some more local to Atlanta pop-up events coming up. So it's just such an exciting 2024 is really
That's
exciting,
right.
and we're really excited about it.
Brazil, Iceland, Atlanta. There's lots of places where
Yes,
you can go have a
Thank
beautiful
you.
time. It's
Thank you,
absolutely.
lovely.
Elizabeth. Thank you,
Yes.
Kat.
Yes. And thank you, Inner Guide, also. Thank you
Bye.
so much. Okay. Bye.
Bye.